going to be determining whether or not these people are overreacting, Am I overreacting? My boyfriend thinks my job is inappropriate. Is everything okay? I thought you just seemed like something was bothering you while you were over. Something's just been bugging me, but I'm working on it. Okay? He's trying to work on it independently. He's trying to problem solve by himself. Let's see how this goes. Can you tell me about it? I want to help if I can. It's just when I asked if you wanted to get lunch yesterday, but you couldn't because you had to pierce some dude's nipples. I felt weird about it. Alrighty. So she works at a tattoo shop. Or a piercing shop. And he feels weird that she's out here piercing nips and getting tips. Monetarily speaking. Maybe she's piercing tips. I don't know. It's obviously an intimate act because you're dealing with somebody's, flesh. But I certainly wouldn't see that as like a sexual act. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it as like something that can be misconstrued as, I don't know. It's kind of like being a nurse. It's very intimate to take somebody's IV because you're drawing their blood or whatever, or like, to get a needle going. That's an intimate thing, but it's not inherently, there's nothing sexual about it. It's just you're dealing with somebody's body, and this woman here seems to be in a line of work where she's piercing nips. Felt weird about it. What, because I couldn't get lunch? Nah, I felt weird about the piercing. Why? I've done piercings like that countless times before. I just didn't like the idea of a dude having a shirt on in front of you. Off, I think is what he meant. I just didn't like the idea of a dude having a shirt off in front of you and you're touching him and it's just the two of you in there. I wasn't touching him any more than I had to. You have to touch people to a certain extent to give them a piercing. Him having his shirt off isn't even a thing to me. I'm not looking at anyone in that way. I just wish you didn't have to give those types of piercings because it bugs me. It's just my job. That's all I see it as. I was doing this when we met, that I would be doing this stuff. You knew that I would be doing this stuff. It's always bothered me, but I wasn't about to tell you that when we had just met. I don't get why it bothers you though. It's a job. There's nothing sexual about it. Yeah, exactly. There's not. I think people confuse intimate acts with sexual acts. They're not the same thing. I don't think it's wrong of me to not like my girlfriend being around dudes, getting all types of piercing in weird places and touching them and whatever. See, you're catastrophizing, sir. You are taking a little bit of information and you got your hands on a little tire pump and you are blowing that piece of information to as thin as it can stretch, as big and fat and wide as it can stretch. That's what anxiety does. Anxiety is a tire pump and it will just inflate a nothing into a something, and then you are going to suffer, sir, via self-fulfilling prophecy. You're paranoid. You're worried about your relationship. This paranoia comes from you being concerned and worried about your relationship, and that paranoia is going to cost you. What's it going to cost you? Acting. The relationship. Op here is not overreacting a little bit. The boyfriend is. You're the one making it something it isn't. There's nothing inappropriate about it, and I'm not attracted to any of these people, and I'm not even thinking that way when I'm piercing them. How can you think sexually when you have a needle that you're focused on poking through flesh of a man's nippy, dude? And I feel like women aren't attracted to men's nippies in the same way that men are attracted to women's nippies. This is like a weird hill to die on. But I don't know. Hey, if you're a woman and you're watching this, did nips do it for you? I wonder. I actually am curious. There's some. I think it's to each their own. But I imagine if like from the women's perspective, 20% of women might be attracted to males and nippies, but I think like 80% of men are interested in women's nippies. How do we get here? I don't know why you're trying to make it seem like I'm a bad guy for being bothered by it. I'm not saying you're a bad guy. I'm just saying I don't get why you're making my job seem inappropriate. I'm not doing anything weird. It's just I'll never know if I'm not there. What do you mean? I don't know what happens when I'm not there. What are you doing, guy? Did you go down a weird rabbit hole of a Reddit thread where, you feel like something, you never know what happens in the back rooms at these tattoo shops, you know what I'm saying? Are you reading fan fiction about something like that? It seems like you've interacted with a piece of content or you've seen something that has changed your your ideas. She goes, if you think I'm doing something weird, then why are you still with me? I just need to think about it all. Just give me a while. Look, anybody in any job can be unfaithful or whatever. Like, relationships are supposed to be built on trust. And they're supposed to be built on like, hey, I'm not going to screw you over. You don't screw me over. We're good. Do whatever you need to do. Like make your money, make your bag, blah, blah, blah. But this job is like, you have to sterilize a needle and you have to rub alcohol on something. You got to pierce through and make sure it gets through. Like I imagine if I'm piercing people all day, I see their skin as like, I'm seeing it as like a freaking, like a hot dog I got to put on a spit. You know what I'm saying? I see it as like a little pepperoni. I need to break both sides of the skin, you know? Oh, was it clean or not? Is that going to get infected? You know, you're thinking about that kind of stuff. You're not thinking like, man, I'd like to taste that man's hairy nip. Posting on a throwaway count, and me and my boyfriend have been together for nearly 9 months. Not too long. He's never shown any signs that he was bothered by my job before this. I've been trying to get in touch with him for nearly a week now, and I've been hearing nothing back from him, even though he's been posting on Instagram, so I know he's just straight up ignoring me. I really don't understand why he's acting this way and then insinuate that I could be cheating on him. He has never acted like he's had a problem before, so I'm just confused. Maybe he's deflecting. A lot of times, somebody suddenly gets paranoid out of nowhere. He could be up to no good. It's a common thing. So maybe he's trying to feel belter and assuage his guilt by placing some kind of blame on you that gives him an easy out of the relationship so he can pursue this other thing he found, or he's truly just uncomfortable and it has been on his mind for a while, and he's stunted in his ability to communicate how he feels. You've been trying to reach out to him for a week and he's been ignoring you. Yeah, that's it. That's it, dude. That's like, oh, okay, no. Yeah, no, I'm not doing this. You're too immature for me. You're pussyfooting around. I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but this is not a relationship I want to be a part of. You're being very strange. He knew this was your job. He didn't talk it out with you for 9 months, and then suddenly relationship I want to be a part of. You're being very strange. He knew this was your job. He didn't talk it out with you for 9 months, and then suddenly is this huge issue that he simply can't work out. He's telling you not to make him out to be a bad guy, yet he's comparing you piercing a random dude's nips to cheating. I won't tell you to just cut ties, but if he'd rather give you the silent treatment than talk things out about a job he already knew you did, then he's making that decision a bit easier, in my opinion. Exhausting, not overreacting. And you've had this job throughout your whole relationship with him. I don't know, but it seems like he's looking for a reason to end the relationship. You know, fellas and everybody, for some reason, men feel like they need and I'm sure women feel this way too, but a lot of people feel like they need a reason. They need a definitive thing to point at to be like, and for that reason, I'm out. Straight up Shark Tank level. They need something to point at and be like, this is the reason why I don't want to be in this relationship. I feel like emotionally underdeveloped individuals do that. They need to have a concrete thing, as if it's like divorce court or something. When in reality, you can literally just go, I'm just not in this like I used to be, and that bothers me, and I feel like I'm not going to be able to give you the relationship you want. There's nothing wrong with you, but I don't know if I can do this anymore. I'm sorry. I know, it sucks. That's it. You can say something like that, and you can put the onus on yourself. You don't have to blame the other person. Just be honest. Huge sign of growth to just be straight up honest with you about how you feel about things and how you feel about the relationship. You can do that. It's painful. It's not fun. Nobody ever wants to break up with anybody. It's never a fun thing. But you're allowed to be honest with yourself and your feelings, and you can let your feelings drive your decision-making in an even-keeled way. You don't have to snoop around and find a reason to, blame the other person. That's childish. This final comment is how I feel. When I think of sexual things to do, piercing nipples never comes to mind. Bro, it's just meat. I'm going to try to say this in a way that doesn't elicit any queasiness from anybody. If you do get weirded out by medical procedures, skip ahead like 45 seconds or something. But one time I had a thing on my hip. It was like a mole, and a doctor, a dermatologist, like injected it with a little bit of lidocaine, took out a razor blade, cut that thing off. Because my skin was numb, I didn't feel the piercingness of it, but I felt him pulling my skin. I felt the pressure of him pulling it, and the sensation around the area of the skin and musculature moving. It felt like somebody was hacking meat off of me like a freaking kebab, like a chicken skewer. And that feeling was like, oh God, I'm just meat. I had that thought. I was like, and I was kind of grossed out, honestly, for a couple of days afterwards. People could just cut meat off of me. That's so gross. Because of that experience, I'm like, there's no way this person is seeing piercing other people's skin as like a sexual thing. That is so not it, dude. Yeah, this guy's grasping at straws. Am I overreacting? This person's 19-year-old girl, boyfriend, 22-year-old guy, is upset that I'm hanging out with my brother. Male 26. Read caption. I'm 19, my boyfriend's 22, and my brother's 26. I live with my brother to save money, and we're really close. He's my best friend, my rock, and practically raised me. This Saturday, we planned to see the new Superman movie. Oh, I still haven't seen it. I still have not seen the new Superman movie. You know what? I know that the guy who played Superman went to Juilliard. I knew that he got cast, and I remember thinking, oh, he's going to be pretty good. I think I've seen him, I think I've seen something of his before, audition material or something, I don't know. And I've been wanting to see the Superman movie ever. God, I want to see Superman so bad. Also, Nicholas Hoult, the guy who plays Lex Luthor, so good in that show on Hulu called The Great. Oh, if you have Hulu and you haven't seen The Great yet, I'm about to put you on. Watch The Great. It's with Elle Fanning, Dakota Fanning's sister. She plays an amazing Catherine the Great, and Nicholas Hoult plays Peter, I think is his name. So good. So funny, interesting, heartbreaking at times, really smart. Watch The Great on Hulu. Very good show. Let's go back to this. This Saturday, we plan to see the new Superman movie. Superhero movies are a thing. Okay, so they got a thing. And my boyfriend got upset. He said it's weird for adults to hang out with their siblings like that I should grow out of it, and I should depend on him instead. He said he never does this stuff with his sister. I didn't think this would be a big deal, but now I just feel bad. I need clarity. What do you call somebody who tries to alienate you from your support system? Is there a word for that? We call them a loser. You're trying to separate your girlfriend, your 19-year-old girlfriend, from her brother. You know, she's fresh out of high school, probably in college. She's going through a lot of life changes. 19 is it's a tough time for a lot of people. It's your first time facing your identity because you've been in the school system for the past 18 years. You're out of school and you're in a new environment. You're like in college or whatever. There's a lot going on. So it's very important for you to have a rock, to have a support system, and to be tethered to where you've come from. Because there's a lot changing. Look, I'm not trying to argue again. I just wanted to say sorry for earlier. I didn't mean to upset you, honestly, babe. It's okay. I'm not upset. I just don't understand why it bothered you so much. I just don't get it. It's not about the movie. It's the fact that you're choosing to spend your weekend with your brother instead of me. Baby, I'm not choosing anyone over anyone. I told you I'd come see you after. We planned this 2 weeks ago. I barely even see him. Be for real, please. LOL. You live with him. How are you acting like he's never around? Because he's always working or tired. We don't hang out like this often. He's my brother, but he's also my best friend. It means a lot to me, frowny face. Yeah, just, okay. Let it go, guy. Let it go, my friend. Do not push any further. That's the part I'll never understand. We love the use of the word never in relationships. That is sarcastic. Don't do that. Ever, never, always, those words, bad words. You want to use words like often, frequently, or rarely. You don't want to be absolutist when you're talking with other people. It puts you in a position to fail because they'll bring up one example. Your whole belief system falls apart. I've never been like that with my sister, and most people I know aren't either. Plus, you're an adult. So, it's weird. What are you saying, man? Just say it. Say it. Continue the thought. I want you to keep going. Say it out loud. What's weird about it? Tell me exactly what's weird about it. What do you picture being weird about it? Because at that point, I'm getting your ass. At that point, dogpiling on you. It's not weird. We've just always been close. That doesn't stop because I'm in a relationship. Nah, but that's kind of the thing. When you're in a relationship, that closeness is supposed to shift. You start depending on your boyfriend more, not your brother. God, what a loser. Oh my God. So you want me to push my brother away? This makes no sense. And I do depend on you. You're acquiescing too much. I'm not saying push him away, but like, who hangs out with their siblings? I don't do that with my sister. What are you talking about? You're supposed to. For millennia, we have relied on our siblings to help us raise our kids, like aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, that whole dynamic. You have kids around, within a couple of years that your sister or brother has kids, and you can raise them together as a family. What's the deal? Why are you being so weird, man? Who hangs out with their siblings? Just because you don't have a strong family dynamic doesn't mean other people can't. Some people are so egocentric. They're so centered around their own worldview that they don't understand that there's multi worldviews. There's myriad world perspectives of how to live this life. We're all just freaking video game characters. You ever played a video game with somebody else who really plays that video game? And then you go, I had no idea. I had no clue this video game could be played like this. Case in point, Grand Theft Auto 5. People do full-on role-playing in Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, full-on like, people pretend to be police officers. And they'll pull people over like, hey, you were speeding, or you ran a red light in Grand Theft Auto 5. And that's not the GTA 5 that I know, but I know that other people are able to play this game in a completely different way that I've never done before. And it looks like fun. And I would like to try that, but that's for another time. And life is the same. Other people have completely different experiences of life. People who climb Mount Kilimanjaro, I will never do that. And I've been invited by a close friend of mine. His name is Nelson Dellis. He's a six-time USA memory champion. He wrote a book called Remember It. He's a brilliant guy. He's so intelligent, and he climbs mountains and competes in national memory championships to raise money for Alzheimer's research and dementia research because he's lost his grandmother to Alzheimer's. And I love that about him. I think he's a fantastic guy. And he invites me to climb Mount Kilimanjaro every year or two, and I say no because I'm terrified. I cannot do that. I went to Denver once. Its altitude was like 4,000 feet in the air. And I got sick. I felt like my sensitive blood, my sensitive skin, my sensitive, seemingly prepubescent body being 4,000 feet up in the air spooked my body. I got nauseous. You know, I had to go to a Walmart and get a canister of oxygen and huff that as we were driving around in my friend's Tesla, so that way I didn't get sick. And I was snacking on, it would have helped me a lot actually, was snacking on trail mix. That salt and sugar. If I can't handle Denver, I'm not going to Mount Kilimanjaro. Okay? I'm sorry, Nelson. I love you. What the hell were we talking about? Oh yeah, people live their lives a completely different way. That's what I'm trying to say. Back to this guy. He says, who hangs out with their siblings? I don't do that with my sister. And she says, if you did that with your sister, I would understand. If she depended on you, I would be okay with it. It is weird. You don't see why that's an issue to me. Spell it out. Let's see. It's just one film and I'm seeing you after and spending the rest of the weekend with you. If that's not enough, I can't help you. I'm with you most weekends, so you're acting childish right now. That's insensitive, LOL. Hang out with your brother this weekend then. Okay. Insensitive? You're saying stupid things. Did you watch Game of Thrones recently and believe that is reality? Is that what's going on? Let's see what the top comment of this one is, and then we're going to go to the update. Super childish and jealous because you're with another male, even though it is literally your brother. A lot of insecurity. Definitely run because it's never going to get better and it's going to come in between you and your brother. Just because he's never had a close relationship with his sister, he thinks a sibling relationship is weird. I guarantee that if you had a sister and hung out with her instead, that he wouldn't be jealous. Yeah, I think that's true. Also, never forget that most relationships don't last forever. And when your parents are gone, your siblings are going to be the ones that you have left that relate the most to you. Never choose a relationship over your siblings. Edit, I also wanted to add that if you stay with this guy, you're going to be dealing with a lot of insecurity issues in the future, and that only gets uglier as time goes on. He will be jealous of anyone you hang out with that is not him, and a lot of domestic abuse cases start like this. Bing, bang, boom, 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 ba-da-dum, boom, boom. Yep. Oh! I was this guy when I was in my teens and dating around. It took me until 23 to figure out I was the consistent problem in my relationships. Never trusting, always jealous of their time with others, etc. So I stepped away from serious commitments as I realized my insecurities stemmed from me and me alone. Hey! We have somebody who's healed in here. We have somebody who has healed themselves. They figured it out. This is a rare occurrence. It's a very exciting occurrence. And I think that we should all be excited for this person who has figured out that they messed up and they did the work to fix it. I realized my insecurities stem from me and me alone, not my partners, and that if I really wanted a lasting connection with someone, I had to get to the root of whatever the F was in my head that made me view things that way. Dragging someone along for that ride just felt unfair to them. So from 23 to 30, I had no serious relationships. I focused a lot on my self-image, confidence, and career, and found that in relationships, I had been relying on validation from my partners to feel adequate instead of knowing my self-worth and what I brought to the table. This caused a pretty vicious cycle of everything going just peachy to jealous bouts and doubting loyalty anytime they were with friends, and I wasn't included. Doubting loyalty with a brother, though? That's a different kind of weird. Let's just be real about that. I'd always look for problems that weren't there, assuming the worst and letting that spill over onto them in arguments that stem from nothing but my own insecurities. All this to say, people can work out of these traits, but from my personal experience, your boyfriend probably has a long road to go, and he really needs to look inward to get there. Look after your emotional sanity, whatever you decide to do in the relationship. Good luck! Wonderful piece of advice. And also... All right, here we go. We have an update from the girl. Update, I ended it. We saw each other earlier today. At first, he made me cry. He kept saying I needed to be more independent and that I was acting childish and being so mean to me. I ended it right there. You ended it right there. Hey, round of applause, round of applause. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Good for you. I took everyone's advice and finally called him out for how he implied things about my relationship with my brother that made me really uncomfortable. Yes, have them spell it out. So what exactly do you think is going to happen if I spend time with my brother? Tell me exactly what you are picturing in your mind. Say the words. I want you to finish your thought out loud to me right now. Sometimes, dude, the best thing you can do with weirdos is put the mirror right there. I told him how wrong it was to make me feel like I had to choose between him and my family. Yes, of course. Hours later, he texts me this. Hey, I just wanted to say sorry again. I know I messed up and I hate how things ended between us. I'm sorry for making you cry. I effed up again. I want to be clear about something because I don't want you to misunderstand me or think I was ever trying to sexualize or disrespect your relationship with your brother. That wasn't it at all. It's hard for me to admit this. I was jealous. Very jealous. I've been comparing myself to him in my head and it just made me feel so small. It made you feel small. He's so successful, so masculine. I'm going to stop there for a second. Weird word to use here, I think. And he's this provider who's always there for you. And honestly, I've never felt like I've measured up to that. Well, because you won't. You never will. That's her older brother. You're never going to measure up to the dad. We're all on this treadmill of life, and some people are ahead of you on the treadmill because they were born earlier and they have relationships with people first. That just happens, all right? And you got to be okay with that. You got to just accept it. I wanted to be like him, the one you could lean on without question, but instead I made you feel like you had to choose, and that was wrong. I tried to make you focus only on me, and I see now how controlling that was. Yes, it's very controlling, my friend. You know, when you're a young man, you're insane. If you're a young man and you're insecure, you are insane. 9 out of 10 times. You will say things, you will do things to feel important, to feel like you're filling up this idea of masculinity. And it's just so common for insecure people in general to act out of pocket. And this guy was acting not out of pocket, out of the damn pants factory. I'm really sorry if I've made you feel isolated or like you had to cut off your family to be with me. Yeah, it is wrong and I should have never put you in that situation ever. Part of it is also because I have a younger sister who barely respects me or wants to spend time with me. So seeing how close you are with your brother made me feel bitter and insecure. Like I'm not good enough for you or even my sister. I guess I was scared I'd never be good enough in general. Journal about it, learn from it, move on. This is a good apology, but you gotta move on. I'm not proud of how I acted, but I want you to know it wasn't about you. It was about me, my insecurities, and what I need to work on in myself, correct? That means you gotta work on yourself, and this is not your girlfriend anymore. I hope you find someone who appreciates the amazing bond you have with your brother because it's clear to me now how important that is. Oh, you're accepting the breakup. That's a relief, I think. That's bare minimum. When I was young, middle school young, I broke up with somebody and their response was, oh no, you're not ending this relationship. I know I won't be able to change right now because these thoughts of low self-esteem and worthlessness are constant. I'm sorry you saw the worst in me. In the meantime, I'm going to work on myself and these negative thoughts, maybe get therapy. I'm liking this. You're such a beautiful girl, blank, not just in how you look, but in how kind and gentle you are. You're the kindest person I've ever met, and being with you made me realize how much I still need to grow. I let my own self-doubt get in the way of treating you the way you truly deserve. I'm sorry once again and take care. Wow! Let that be the final chapter. Close that book up. Let this man bake for a while. Dude's undercooked. He's got to bake in the oven for a minute. I hope he means that. I hope he looks at it. I hope he means it. I hope he sees that he actually doesn't need to grow. He needs to improve in his personal life and his self-esteem. And I hope he grows through that. I told my brother everything. He was upset. He had no clue this was happening and disappointed because he treated my ex like family. Oh, that sucks. He's glad I ended it and said I deserved better. Also, my brother and I saw Superman and it was amazing. I need to see it. I loved it and it actually helped lift my mood. Haha. Anyways, thanks for everyone's insight and validating me. I appreciate everyone's wisdom because I was blinded by love. I'm so sad and hurting because he's my first boyfriend. Ah, man, that sucks. This was the only issue I had with him, but this was for the best. My family comes first. Good for you. Hey! Good for you, baby. Oh, yeah. Next story. Am I overreacting about my 8-year-old daughter sleeping at her mom's new boyfriend's house without any family or females present? Hey there, not trying to start any problems or anything, but is blank, the kid, staying the night with your boyfriend at places without blank or you? Yes. Why? Okay, so this kid is not with the mother. This kid is with the mother's new boyfriend. 8-year-old daughter? 8 years old? Can you leave a kid by themselves in your house, like say you got to go to work, could you leave a kid by themselves in the house with access to food and things like that? I know at like 11, you're good. 8? Why? Why not? She's only 8 years old. Do you believe that her staying overnight... Oh, she's staying overnight. Why is she staying overnight? Yeah, I don't like that. Do you believe that her staying overnight with boys and men and without a family member is a safe and reasonable parenting decision? Yes, I do. No different than her staying with her dad or uncle. So this is the point I disagree with primarily. It's not the same as that at all, not even by a little. Why couldn't you or blank be with her? She is definitely safe and well cared for, whether in my care or with blank. Sure, but that's not what I'm asking. Why couldn't you or blank be there with her? I don't usually attend the girls' sleepovers with their friends. So it's a girl's sleepover at boyfriend's house? Does he have a daughter? And so the boyfriend's daughter and this woman's daughter, are they hanging out? Are they friends? Because that's different. Sure. So sleepover with friends in blank's life so far has been with little girls from school. I've had the address and contact information for where she was for those and knew who was there with her. So to that end, who all slept with blank last night? Blank was at blank's with his kids. So 2 boys and 1 man, right? Yes. 2 boys, 1 man. 1 8-year-old daughter. Yeah, young boys are wild. You know, they could be violent. They could be sweet. Don't get me wrong. My daughter being at, some random boys in a man's house, no, that's going to be a no for me, dog. So less of a sleepover with friends and more like she stayed the night at your boyfriend's with no other girls or family present. I feel like you're failing to understand my concern or minimizing the situation purposefully, which is quite puzzling here, to be honest, as I'm expressing genuine unease with all of this. What exactly is your concern or unease? His kids are her friends. Okay, so it's his 2 boys. So it's the boyfriend's 2 sons. All their friends are her friends. Blank's nieces and nephews are her friends. She is safe there. Not sure what the issue is. It's not like she's staying over with people unknown. The girls know his whole family and they all adore them. I'm totally fine if you would like to meet blank, which, yeah, I would. If that would make you more comfortable, I'm here for it. Don't want any uneasiness. There is no reason for concern. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm not a parent. I don't know. There's some parents watching this right now. I gotta see what you're thinking because this is a very unique situation. There's a very specific situation. My concern is that she's an 8-year-old girl staying the night with all males and no family or even 1 female present. She has a mom and a sister, both available, but not with her for some reason. This is me telling you, I am not comfortable with that at all. I think it is a bad decision and one that I wouldn't make given the opportunity. You failing to understand any of this is actually more concerning than everything else at this point. Sure, let's all get together and have a chat about it anytime. I'm failing to understand because it makes no sense. They are comfortable with him being the dad, the daughters are being with him. What do you mean? There is no danger. I'm not going to allow you to make me feel as though I'm doing something wrong and putting our kids in danger. I stand by my decisions. Why weren't you there with her? She went to a birthday party. Blank and I came home. After you stopped by, which I will get to momentarily, blank got a terrible headache. It was later and easier for everyone for the daughter to sleep over, I guess. Not to mention she was excited to stay there. In the event you want to stop by, please make sure to ask me first. This is my space with the girls and I need to be the recipient of that communication, not the girls to relay to me. Okay, I see. And let's focus on one thing at a time here for simplicity's sake. So do you understand that I don't want blank staying the night with any men without proper familiar supervision going forward? This is point number 1 before we talk about anything else. Okay, so you're drawing your line in the sand. You're saying this is what I'm not comfortable with. We cannot do that again. Who determines proper familial supervision? You? Am I running all situations by you now for approval? It doesn't work like that. I hear that you feel uncomfortable and it is noted. I provided a resolution and you noted. Next topic. So you don't remember how to co-parent now? We determine what's proper for them. If you do something inappropriate, which you have here, I will bring it up. I'm certain you'd do the same without hesitation. You are being deceptive about the details, and I can tell you're doubling down now because you are clearly in the wrong on this one. What resolution did you provide? There's nothing inappropriate about what has happened. I was not deceptive. I am not wrong. You don't get to control every situation. I know that's hard for you. I offered that you could meet. Man, you know what? I feel like I'm watching mom and dad fighting. I think the mom here underestimates how weird boys can get. Having another girl around will make that daughter feel more comfortable, I guess, but she's 8. 8-year-olds are brave. They're curious. They're down to do whatever. They're down to adventure, So to the little girl, to the 8-year-old girl, it's not like she was afraid. I think the dad is just paranoid about having his daughter be in a house with all boys and men without the mom around. or an aunt or anybody. I understand the dad's perspective more here. And the mom is probably, she messed up and yeah, I don't know. I'm still with the dad on this one. I am. Here is the Ohio standard for foster children. Not even for significant others' children. That doesn't exist. Let me know if what just happened last night fits within these guidelines in your opinion. I'm not trying to control anything. I'm just trying to protect my youngest daughter. Again, I'm ready to meet anytime for an even more in-depth conversation. A foster child shall not share a bedroom with a child of the opposite sex, except when all children sharing the room are under the age of 5 years, or when a foster child who is also a parent is sharing a bedroom with his or her own child. So the reason why this law exists, the standard exists for foster children, is because something has happened in the past to make this a new standard. There is reason for suspicion here. There's reason for this to have been made. Protect her from what? Also, we don't have foster children, so not sure what you're trying to use this document for. Please make sure to communicate directly to me any instances of your wanting to see them at my house. Thanks. If this isn't resolved clearly, this is one of them court things where you go try to get custody of your child back. If it's not resolved clearly, and if the man here, if this guy really feels like there's a big misfire in parenting. For context, me and my ex have 2 daughters aged 8 and 12. We've been divorced since 2019. We have a shared parenting plan where the girls are with me for 2 days, with her for 2 days, with me for 3 days, and an alternating pattern every other week. That's so much. So much moving around. Dude, my parents were divorced. I went week here, week there. End of story. This past weekend was her weekend. We have generally had an amicable run up until this point, but this situation isn't sitting right with me. She's been dating her current guy for about a year, I'd say. Her new boyfriend has 2 sons aged 9 and 11. Oh, they're all like the same age group. Okay, so they can actually be friends. They're probably friends. On Saturday evening, I was near my ex's house after dinner and texted my 12-year-old to see if I could just swing by and say hi and give her a hug real quick. She said, sure. We're just watching Lego Masters, nothing special. So I met her in the driveway and gave her a big hug. I asked where my 8-year-old daughter was, and she told me that she was at a party with the new boyfriend and hadn't made it home yet. Yep, that would make me anxious, of course, which I was totally unaware of. And that's why the mom is like, hey, if you ever want to interact with your daughter again, text me first. Don't text your daughter. So the mom is trying to limit him from texting the daughter. There's a difference between like a parent texting the kid to drive a wedge between the kid and the mom, but then again, asking the kid to drop by the mom's house uninvited. You know what? Now I see that being odd because you're asking the kid for permission to drop by the mom's house, which is not how that should go. Now I'm starting to get the picture. Okay. So the mom is saying, before you stop by my home, don't ask your 12-year-old daughter for permission to come to my house. I drove home concerned, but didn't press the issue further until the following day when I found out that she actually stayed the night at his house without her mom or sister present. The following text chain is from yesterday, and I can't help but feel like I essentially got a DARVO response. DARVO is a manipulative tactic used by perpetrators of abuse to deflect blame and misdirect victims. It stands for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. By using this strategy, abusers aim to avoid responsibility for their actions and shift the focus onto the victim. And I'm honestly just trying to consider what to think at this point, looking for clarity amongst folks who may have experience with this sort of thing. Thanks. Yeah, this is such a specific situation. And also, this has 30,000 upvotes and 12,000 comments. All right, top commenter here with 7,000 upvotes says, your ex is deflecting and trying to make you the bad guy here, and she is just plain negligent. There are so many red flags here. I would not want my daughter at a sleepover with 2 older boys and no parental supervision. I would not want my daughter at a sleepover supervised by a man I have not met. Put those things together and my head is spinning. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, don't you think? You need to sit down and talk to your daughter calmly. Was the sleepover fun? What did you do? Keep it light. Look for evasiveness. And if she seems upset or withdrawn, you can immediately call Child Protective Services, explain what happened, and ask for an interview. If she tells a neutral party, they can't accuse you of coaching her. For the future, make sure she can recite your number. Tell her she can call you anytime for any reason, and you will come without questions. All you want is for her to feel safe, so if she feels unsafe, she can always call you. You will be repeating this as she gets older, goes to parties, makes questionable decisions. Always let her know you will get her out of any situation without blame. Have you done any sort of background check on this guy? Depending on the state, you might have to go county by county. For the future, since your ex has been showed that she can't make good decisions, you will probably have to revise the parenting plan to cover a lot of things you thought were obvious. How do you do that? In the court system. It might have to be in the court system because the mom doesn't seem like she's willing to budge on anything. I'm sorry you're in this situation because you sound like a logical and caring parent. I'd also discuss getting your child a simple phone programmed with just a few numbers of family so she can always reach out if she feels unsafe. Good luck and keep protecting your kids. Agree. Yeah, a simple phone plan. That's a good idea. A jitterbug. You guys know what a jitterbug is? I think it's for old folks. Let's see. You guys remember these ads? I used to get these ads all the time for the jitterbug phone, dude. Jitterbug. Big old screen. Big old jitterbug. Op here replied, they said, I was waiting to respond to your comment because this one stuck with me the most, and I wanted to enact as many of these good practices that you offered as possible. So first of all, thank you for sharing your good judgment with me here. The response to this whole thread has been overwhelmingly powerful to witness. I've read through almost all of the comments and have seen some commonalities and questions that I feel like I should elaborate on further for context. First, a good news update for any and all who have interacted here. Both girls and I all had a great evening together last night. My 8-year-old showed no signs of trepidation or strange responses or behavior in any way. Great, good, it was safe for that night. Great. We spent a lot of time together and I feel like I can read her reactions properly. I approached the topic exactly how you mentioned in your response, very light and not hammering for details. The last thing I want is to introduce any unnecessary stress or intrusive thoughts into her thought process. Nothing withdrawn or upset about her retelling the events of the evening. We all played a handful of rounds of Fortnite Blitz together. Yeah, Fortnite, yes. Ate some dinner and snacks. I'm picturing Ritz crackers. I'm picturing some cheese, some cheddar cheese, a little pepperonis. Watched some funny shows and had an otherwise normal evening. I told her we need to work on her memorizing my phone number and she agreed. Unsolicited, she tells me that she knows my mother's number by heart and recited it perfectly, which I considered a solid starting point at least. She does have an older phone I gave her that's Wi-Fi only for now, that she plays games and watches videos on. I'm currently deciding on getting her an active SIM or at least a connected watch. I have a connected watch. It doesn't always work, I will say. Sometimes, I try to make texts on this. I try to receive texts on this. It doesn't always watch. It doesn't always work, I will say. Sometimes, I try to make texts on this. I try to receive texts on this. It doesn't always work. This thing right here, this thing is a minimalist phone, a minimal phone. You can send and receive calls and do nothing else, but might be worth looking into. Something like that. Who knows? Again, thank you for the thoroughness of your reply, which contributed to having this talk. I haven't done any sort of background check yet, and to be honest, I don't want to publicly disclose any sort of future behind-the-scenes activity that may arise out of this, partially due to how much attention this post has received. Anyone that mildly knows any of us would be able to connect the dots too easily, and I don't want to undermine myself or anything else. Please rest assured I've taken a lot of advice in the thread to heart and will be making the best choices available for everyone involved. Just a couple clarifying things to end here based on some of the comments I've repeated multiple times. I've been accused of misandry or being sexist for pointing out a clearly pertinent detail in this particular situation. On the other end of that spectrum, I've been criticized for using the word female or for implying that a woman's presence would mitigate the likelihood of any trouble. No offense meant at all. I use the words girl and women and female interchangeably when appropriate as descriptives or as a collective noun. And I don't think men are inherently predators or to be feared without just cause. I seek harmony amongst people of all genders, and my intent was not to be dismissive at all. I think I completely understand that. You are a father with an 8-year-old girl without their mother present in her new boyfriend's house. You just want to make sure the little girl's safe. And however you verbalize that, justify that, use words like female or male or, men or boys or whatever. Dude, ultimately, whatever gets the damn thing done. People nitpicking and being like, oh, you Miss Andrea, shut up. You're choosing the wrong hill to die on here. You're not focused on the big picture. The bar for me for a safety buddy in my head is number one, a family member, period. I mentioned having at least one other woman present as being a secondary option that would be more of a natural advocate for a younger girl in an uncomfortable bathroom, body, intimate issue. Maybe this is a misguided stance to some, but as a single girl dad, I greatly appreciate the support I've received from my mother and sister in the past for strictly feminine-oriented issues. This isn't to slander men or women's capacity in any way, just working with what I've learned from personal experience, and anyone that has disagreed, I do thank you for your contrary perspective. I'm open to being wrong or corrected. This is how I learned to do better. After reading about all these real-world cases, folks have mentioned very painful and intimate personal anecdotes, quoted statistics. The majority view seems to be generally in consensus that this is not an overreaction. Can I get a Law and Order sound? Dun, dun. If I came off controlling somehow, my intent was to protect what I love most and not to be commanding or threatening at all. And honestly, I think you were pretty even-keeled. I think you did it right. I don't think you overdid anything. I don't think you underdid anything. I think it's about right, given, little girl safety. For me, I'd strap a bomb to my chest. I feel like if I were a little girl father, I would just be insane over anything. This is me saying that I would be overreacting. about absolutely everything. When I said I stopped by to see my older girl, I realized that this may seem like overstepping to many. I don't do that as often as it has been characterized, perhaps once every 3 months or more realistically. I don't want to helicopter parent or be hyper present in my ex's space, which I think is fair. I think it's fair to keep your ex's, keep space. If the kids are with the other parent, let them have that time. I had no ulterior motive other than I was literally down the street for dinner, texted daughter to say hi, was maybe there for 3 minutes tops and back on the road. The response you're seeing about this in the text was the first time my ex has expressed wanting me to contact her beforehand, which I can certainly respect moving forward. Okay, new rules, we're learning. But it was the timing and placement of this request, which seemed like a direct deflection redirection of the matter I was looking to address. It felt like a Darvo cycle was being completed rather than an actual pressing issue that needed addressed immediately. Either way, the dude abides, and I won't push back against her wishes. I need to see that movie. I need to see, This got long-winded, and I apologize for that, but there was so much being said, and I want to let you all know I see and hear you whether you agree with me or not. You got me thinking and make me want to do better as a dad and co-parent. This post really connected and resonated with a massive amount of people. I would have never imagined 11 million people would have eyes on this. Can you imagine 11 million people looking at and weighing in on your situation? My two main takeaways are: there are truly some compassionate and beautiful and caring souls out there, and a lot of them have been through terribly difficult times. The other one is that there is a sick and evil undercurrent that exists in society. Predatory behavior exists, and you can't just assume the best from even the people closest to you. I think that's what the dad was worried about. So cheers to the former. You're the good ones that exist to protect the rest from the latter. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts with me. So just to quickly skim through the rest, we'll see here, you're definitely not overreacting. I share the same concerns. This person says this is completely unacceptable. Full stop. Edit with additional stuff to get mad at the end. So this person has only 39 upvotes with 1,000 replies. And this person thinks that they're overreacting, which in layman's terms, they got ratioed to death. And their thesis is, no one else has experiences in any occasion that this situation involves abuse. No statistic is an indication that this situation involves abuse. Even if sexual assault is very likely to happen to Op's daughter, and it is too likely, there is no reason to believe that any single individual, adult, or child will be responsible. Even if boyfriends abuse their stepdaughters at a higher rate than any other family members, I have not verified, I will take it as granted. The fact of the matter is that most boyfriends do not commit CSA against their stepdaughters, and there is no indication in this individual instance that this is what's happening. But guess what? If I can prevent that from even being a remote possibility, I'm going to prevent it. Does that mean I'm putting my daughter in a room with padded walls? No. It means have a supervisor. It means have a mediary. Have a trusted adult that we all agree is a trusted adult. Statistics are important to help make you make reasonable decisions for your kids' safety. That's why we wear seatbelts, dude. Have I ever been in a life-threatening accident? Not once. Not a single time. But I wear a seatbelt every time I get in my car. Every time. Because the statistics tell me that I should wear a damn seatbelt. So this guy's angle here is contrarian, and like, I understand the thinking behind it, because they're like, not all men are bad. And I'm like, sure, that's true. The boyfriend might be a great guy. Might be a firefighter, who helps tame the fires of Los Angeles, or volunteers at an orphanage. I don't know. While that is all true, let us agree as co-parents to just put the seatbelt on, just so I feel better. Is that okay? Here's the reason why the girl dad thing is such a big thing for me. I really did used to think I never wanted a daughter because I was a dumb boy. I was like, in high school or whatever. In college, I think it was about 19 years old, I had this very, very vivid dream. I finally returned home, and my wife in my dream and our daughter, 3 years old, her name was Elizabeth. I don't know why, runs up to me. She's like, Daddy, right? Runs up to me, and I pick her up. And in this world, I've been gone for 6 months, and I'm sobbing because I missed her so much. When I woke up, it took me 3 to 5 minutes to stop crying. I just woke up, and I was like, my daughter, like my kid, dude. Elizabeth, where is she? Years later, now I know that if I had a little girl, my whole life would be around that little girl. And also, you know what? You know, and if you're a son, you're probably cool too. You know, who knows? Maybe I'll have 15 kids and start a business. The Thrasher 15. Forget about the Jackson 5. Outro.